Root detection. In the module, we will discuss root detection bypass. So without any further ado, let's get started. In previous video, we learned how to root an Android device. However, this is not where we finally conclude. We must also keep in mind that several mechanisms can be in place to detect that devices are rooted, thus further preventing our attacks from being escalated. While creating an application, developers typically incorporate a root detection mechanism to restrict users from using it on a rooted Android device. When a user tries to install an application, it generates an error message and refuses to allow it to be installed on a rooted device. How to bypass Android root detection? This can be done through numerous methods, including exploiting vulnerabilities or weaknesses in the operating system or using third-party tools that can override the root detection mechanism. However, bypassing root detection can undermine the device's security and increase its vulnerability to various security risks. Frida can help us bypass root detection using scripts that are easily available through a quick Google search and applying it to the software package or app you are trying to bypass root detection for. In this scenario, we will bypass root detection using the AndroGoat application in the Genymotion emulator and Frida tool. Open your browser, type AndroGoat APK file in the search bar and hit enter. Click the first GitHub link and click on download. This can then be installed by dragging the APK into the Android emulated Genymotion. Keep in mind that a Genymotion emulator is rooted by default. Practical. Now open your browser and search for root_bypass.js. It will give you a list of available options. Click on the first link, which gives direct access to the code in GitHub. Click on raw and copy the whole script. Open your download folder. Create a new file with the name root_bypass. Open the file with Notepad, paste the copied script into the editor and save it as root_bypass_frida.js. Now type cmd in the navigation panel, which opens a command terminal. Now type frida-u, the command as shown in the screen, and hit enter to open the AndroGoat application. From the available options given, click on root detection. Now click on check root. As you can see from the toast box, the application does not detect any rooting mechanisms. Mitigation against root bypass techniques. Let's look at some of the common mitigation techniques. Advanced root detection techniques. App developers can implement multiple layers of root detection mechanisms to prevent malicious actors from bypassing them. By making it harder to bypass the detection, developers can reduce the chances of unauthorized access to sensitive data. Code obfuscation. Obfuscation techniques can make the app's code more difficult to reverse engineer, making it harder for attackers to find vulnerabilities or bypass the root detection mechanisms. Encryption. Sensitive data can be encrypted to prevent unauthorized access. The encryption key can be stored securely on the device, making it harder for attackers to access the data even if they bypass the root detection. Multi-factor authentication can provide an extra layer of security to prevent unauthorized access. For instance, a user may be required to provide a password and a fingerprint scan to access the sensitive data. Regular updates. Developers should update their apps with the latest security patches to address any vulnerabilities that could be exploited to bypass root detection.